Australia's Light Amphibious Brigade, one brigade, together with supporting elements, must be prepared to operate in littoral and riverine environments in Southeast Asia and the Southwest Pacific, as described in the National Defence Strategy. These areas are characterised by complex terrain, including mangroves, swamps, jungle, mountains, deltas and estuaries. This force, based in Northern Australia, will self-deploy by landing craft from Australia, but once ashore will rely on wheeled vehicles to move, and perhaps only some helicopter support due to availability issues and anti-air threats. However, the sole manoeuvre battalion within one brigade is a light amphibious infantry formation, and not a motorised formation fully transportable with organic vehicles. And those vehicles that are supporting it are wheeled, not tracked. How will this battalion and other key combat elements of the brigade manoeuvre key capabilities in the complex terrain they are expected to effectively operate in? G'day and salutations. Today's briefing: Australia needs this vehicle, the Wiesel 2, a capability analysis. This briefing will examine how this vehicle's capabilities are consistent with Australia's National Defence Strategy and how the vehicle would fit into the ADF's force structure. This is the third in the series. With the previous briefings, Australia needs this ship and Australia needs this aircraft, linked below. At the end of the briefing, I'll link another two briefings that I think will be of interest. A shout out to members to please PM me so I can provide additional content to you, and thank you to all who have subscribed. Please hit the bell icon to be notified when I post a new briefing, and encourage the lurkers to continue subscribing. To begin, a quick note on the terrain the Army must be able to effectively operate in. These areas often have limited or no infrastructure, as shown here. All elements of one brigade, not just the main combat element, the infantry battalion, need to be able to operate in this terrain after being brought ashore. Once ashore, the force will need to traverse this terrain by foot, wheeled vehicles, and possibly by helicopters, if available. The brigade's protected vehicles, and those with the best off-road performance, will be the 4x4 Hawkeye protected mobility vehicle for command liaison and reconnaissance, etc., and the Bushmaster protected mobility vehicle for troop and heavy weapons transport, amongst other roles. They won't carry the infantry directly into contact, but will provide some mobility and a level of protection once ashore in complex terrain. For reference, the Hawkeye weighs around 10 tonnes and the Bushmaster around 15 tonnes. But how good will these vehicles be in navigating the likely terrain in Australia's primary area of defence interest, where operations are planned to be conducted? Given this challenging and complex operational environment, the ground force must have appropriate vehicles to be able to bring critical capabilities to bear in a timely manner. Providing significantly better mobility and manoeuvrability than existing vehicles in the brigade would be the Wiesel 2 family of lightly armoured tracked vehicles. The APC version would serve as a transport vehicle for crew-served weapons in the infantry battalion's support company, not for the infantry sections. These would transport 81mm mortar, javelin and Charlie Gutzak anti-armour, and sustained fire machine gun and 12.7mm anti-material rifle teams. They could also provide transport for troops carrying a large amount of support equipment, including the assault pioneers and reconnaissance troops. Beyond transporting the support company's troops, the Wiesel 2 would also be useful as a tactical command vehicle and as a high echelon command and signals communication support vehicle, as well as an ambulance getting to wounded soldiers that wheeled vehicles can't get to or will take longer to get there, and as a basic logistics vehicle capable of carrying 1 tonne of supplies. Beyond mobility requirements for elements of the infantry battalion, the brigade's artillery will also need to be able to traverse this complex terrain. The brigade's artillery is provided by the M777 155mm howitzer, which is towed by the Rheinmetall MAN HX77 gun tractor, with other variants of the HX family providing broader logistics support to the brigade. The gun tractor is more than 10.3 metres long and weighs more than 13 tonnes empty, and the M777 has a travelling length of 9.5 metres and a weight of 4.2 tonnes. how easily would the gun tractor and howitzer be able to traverse the complex terrain in the likely area of operations? This capability might best be replaced by the Wiesel 2 120mm self-propelled mortar. Not part of the infantry battalion, and in addition to the battalion's organic 81mm mortars, these would provide the supporting artillery fires. The Wiesel's 120mm mortar has a maximum effective range of 8,000 metres, with the vehicle storing 30 rounds of ammunition. Now, this would not replace all of the capability of the 155mm howitzer, in particular its rate of fire, but it would be able to hit targets the howitzer cannot due to the mortar round's ballistic profile. Also, it should be noted that the brigade would be supported by the M142 HIMARS multiple launch rocket system. The Wiesel mortar system offers better mobility, better protection, being able to fire under complete protection and quicker into and out of action, and requires less crew than the M777. Additionally, the entire system can be carried internally or airlifted by a CH-47 Chinook helicopter. So for one brigade, and not just the infantry battalion, the Wiesel 2 might be employed in the following roles: as a weapons team carrier, a troop carrier for specialised troops such as the assault pioneers and reconnaissance troops, command and signals transport, as an ambulance or logistics vehicle, and as a self-propelled 120mm mortar. In terms of specifications, the Wiesel 2 has a maximum length of 4.8 metres, standard width of 1.9 metres, standard height of 1.8 metres, and a weight that can be less than 4 tonnes for some variants, up to 4.8 tonnes for the self-propelled mortar, and a ground pressure of 35 kilopascals or 5.1 pounds per square inch, with this low ground pressure being particularly important for the vehicle to traverse complex terrain. The lighter versions might be airlifted by the Black Hawk helicopter, which has an external load of 4.1 tonnes. All variants can be lifted by the CH-47F Chinook, which has an external load of 12.7 tonnes, and which can also carry it internally with cargo dimensions of 9.3 metres in length or 30.5 feet, a width of 2.28 metres or 7.5 feet, and a height of 1.98 or 6.5 feet. In summary, the Australian Army, and especially one brigade, must be capable of effectively conducting military operations in complex terrain, as highlighted in this briefing. To achieve this, the brigade, in particular the infantry battalion, needs vehicles with better tactical manoeuvrability than its wheeled 4x4 vehicles. The Wiesel 2 provides excellent strategic mobility and tactical manoeuvrability, including being able to be airlifted by helicopter, as well as providing some degree of protection. Transporting the crew-served weapons teams and heavier equipment, including engineer and reconnaissance kit, would be a significant benefit to the infantry battalion support company, as well as broader command and signals functions. The mortar variant would provide a fires capability that would be more survivable, be able to get to more places, and require less crew than the M777. Certainly the mortar won't have the range or weight of munitions that a 155mm howitzer does, but the mortar will be able to hit targets the howitzer can't due to the ballistic profile of its rounds. Importantly, the brigade will almost certainly be supported by the HIMARS multiple launch rocket system. What about helicopters to help with mobility issues for ground forces in this terrain? Well, certainly some will be available, but only to a limited degree given the numbers in service and availability given the variety of tasks they will be called upon to support, and how survivable they will be in a peer-on-peer conflict. The Wiesel 2 might just be the answer. That concludes today's briefing. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like and share, and don't forget to click the notification button so you don't miss the next briefing. You never know what it'll be about. Happy to take suggestions for future briefings from members. Until next time, Vale de Cero.